Hello and welcome to our multimedia presentation, Instructional Design Cooperative Project for EDTC6321 at the University of Texas, Brownsville, Spring 2015. Group members include Juan Alvarez, Chris Birch, and Michelle Farias. This presentation will include an introduction of the project and team members, definition of instructional design and performance gap, an overview of the ADDIE instructional design method, an overview of the Assure instructional design method, similarities and differences of ADDIE and Assure, and a conclusion summarizing the presentation. Instructional design is defined as the designing of instruction for learners who have a deficit in knowledge and/or a skill that results in a performance gap. A performance gap is the difference between a desired outcome and the actual performance. In our textbook, Instructional Design, the ADDIE approach, Dr. Branch listed three main causes for performance gaps. The first is lack of resources. The person cannot complete the task due to something that is absent. The first example is limited technology. The person does not have the proper tools to perform adequately. The second is limited cognitive capacity. Learner is not mentally capable of the desired performance. The last one is limited process capacity. The process the learner is following or the desired outcome is flawed. The second reason for having a performance gap is lack of motivation. The person does not want to complete the task. The person is able to complete the desired activity or task but chooses not to. Many factors can contribute to lack of motivation. The third one mentioned by Dr. Branch is lack of knowledge and/or skill. The person cannot complete the task due to lack of instruction. The person does not know how to do the task. Instruction is designed to overcome this deficiency. There are many different instructional design models and frameworks used to overcome performance gaps caused by lack of knowledge or skill. Each method or framework has unique features and some are better suited for different situations, such as a teacher designing classroom materials for instruction. Some examples would be ADDIE, Assure, Bergman and Moore model, and the Diamond model. This presentation will focus on the following instructional design methods, ADDIE and Assure. As you can see on this slide, both methods use design phases to create instruction for learners. The next slides will detail each phase for both methods. The ADDIE method is comprised of the following phases. 1. Analyze. 2. Design. 3. Develop. 4. Implement. And 5. Evaluate. Analyze. In this phase, the instructional designer will confirm that the performance gap is due to lack of knowledge or skill. Develop an instructional design that defines what learners will be able to do at conclusion of the instruction. Identify learner characteristics such as demographics, backgrounds, learning styles, attitudes, pre-existing knowledge, motivations, and potential obstacles. Select resources including materials, technology, facilities, and manpower. Determine if the delivery system for the instruction will be face-to-face, online, software, or blended. Design. In this phase, the instructional designer will have four main tasks that he or she will need to complete. The first is to develop a task analysis that will identify what information or skill learners need to learn to achieve the instructional goal. Second, the learning objectives are written to guide the learner's achievement of the instructional goal. Third, tests are designed to assess learner performance. This allows the instructional designer to see if the learner has received proper information or training that supports the instructional goal. Lastly, a cost analysis is conducted to estimate the necessary funding and includes a return on investment. If the cost is too high or if there is a negligible return on investment, the project may need to be looked at again or scrapped. In the develop phase, the instructional designer will identify, select, or develop resources needed for the lesson. Some of the resources needed for the lesson might be content, media, student's guide, or a teacher's guide. Implement. This phase involves ensuring that materials, resources, and learning space are ready for instruction. Orienting the teacher with the lesson, providing guides for necessary resources, reviewing the lesson outline, and practicing necessary components. Finally, preparation of the students so they will participate and interact during instruction. Evaluate. In this phase, the instructional designer will determine what is being evaluated, how it will be evaluated, and what is the outcome of the evaluation. The Assure method consists of the following 6 steps. 1. Analyze learners. 2. State objectives. 3. Select methods, media, and materials. 4. Utilize media and materials. 5. Require learner participation. And 6. Evaluate and revise. Analyze learners. Learner characteristics are taken into more consideration in this model. Learners' attitudes. If they do not see the value in the instruction, learners will not participate and the information or skill will not be learned. Demographics such as gender, academic history, age, ethnicity, physiological needs, grades, etc. are taken into consideration. Learning styles. Learners fall into many different learning styles. Are they visual, kinesthetic, auditory, tactile, or are they mixed? Instruction should be able to cover all learning styles of all learners. Environmental influences. Class size, class decor, room temperature all play vital roles in class environmental influences. Motivation. Why is the learner here? Are they forced to be here or are they voluntary participants? Learners who choose what they learn are usually more motivated than students who are forced to learn required topics. State objectives. Objectives will be specific and clearly defined using action verbs. Objectives will describe learner participation. Are learners working independently or in groups? Do the learners have assigned roles in groups? Expected behaviors. Learners are told by instructor what is acceptable, non-acceptable behavior during instruction. Conditions in which the objective is to be carried out. Is instruction carried out at learner's desk or in the lab, inside or outside, classwork or homework? Lastly, how the objective will be evaluated. The use of rubrics is highly encouraged. Rubrics give learners clear expectations of what is needed to satisfactorily complete the objective. Select methods, media, and materials. The instructional designer will select delivery method based on instruction and student needs. Choose media that is appropriate for learners and instruction. Incorporate existing media and materials whenever possible, making modifications when needed. Develop or purchase new materials based on need or recommendation of instructional technologist. Utilize media and materials. The first step is to preview all materials and media to ensure that they are functioning and appropriate. Second, prepare learning environment by setting up needed equipment and materials. Double check everything is working correctly. Third, prepare students by introducing the lesson and explaining the importance or value of the lesson. And the fourth step is to implement the lesson. Require learner participation. Learners do not learn well if they are not actively participating in instruction. A way to get students to participate actively is to give them a basic outline of a lesson, but let them research real-world applications or examples. Let the students guide the instruction. Engaged learners. If a topic is boring, students will not want to participate. Learners are more likely to be engaged if instruction is relevant and has connections to the real world. Can the learner connect with the topic at hand, and is there a real-world connection or problem, and does it affect the learner? Formative assessments are used to ensure that the students are learning properly. Evaluate and revise. In this phase, the instructional designer will judge the effectiveness of materials, content delivery, and use of technology. He or she will also review opportunities for learner feedback and revisions. How did the learners like the lesson? Was there anything that could be changed to make it better? They will also assess learner engagement, learner interest, and learner expectations. Instructor effectiveness and responsiveness to student needs is an important area that the instructional developer should evaluate also. Any revisions to instruction and/or materials should be based on this evaluation. Similarities of ADDIE and Assure. 5 similarities of ADDIE and Assure are listed below. First, both can be used in development of instruction addressing performance gaps dealing with lack of knowledge and/or skills. Both start with analysis of learners. Both have objectives that guide expected learning outcomes. Focus is on performance-based learning, and summative evaluations are used to guide revisions of content, materials, media, etc. This slide details some of the differences between ADDIE and Assure. First, learner characteristics are taken into greater account in the Assure model. Second, ADDIE focuses on creation of lesson content, media, and material, whereas Assure uses pre-created lesson content, media, and material as much as possible. Thirdly, Assure emphasizes importance of learner participation, while ADDIE does not. In conclusion, our presentation stated that instructional design allows for the creation of instruction when there is a performance gap issue. The performance gap issue should be related to a lack of knowledge and/or skill. There are many different instructional design models and frameworks available for use by instructional designers, and some of the most common ones used are ADDIE, which stands for Analyze, Design, Develop, Implement, and Evaluate, and the Assure model, which stands for Analyze Learners, State Objectives, Select Methods, Media, and Materials, Utilize Media and Materials, Require Learner Participation, and Evaluate and Revise. Also, through our presentation, we discuss similarities and differences of ADDIE and Assure. Thank you for viewing our presentation.